justice delayed is justice denied. But not just that. You know, we have been speaking about how in public offices people certainly give you more problems rather than solutions. You know, so you walk up to them, you're like, hey, you know what, I'm having this problem. They'll be like, go get this document, get this document, get this document. When you get all of these documents, they will still manage to tell you, hey, you need another document. Or probably whenever you are giving money or you're taking money, there are delays in it as well. The process is delayed. Where do you go to? I mean, this is something which we really need to take seriously if we really need to develop. You know, the work really needs to be on fast track, but that's not happening. So imagine that's where ombudsmen come in as well. You know, my producer actually has been telling me to kind of introduce the guest, but this introduction is really very important. Thank you very much for listening to me. So now what happens is that I want everybody to kind of take notice of this, that your problems can actually be solved within 40 days or 60 days maximum. All you need to do is that you really need to go to the right people, to the right department, which is why today we're very lucky that we will be talking about all those problems people encounter when we talk about tax filing or probably problems related to your taxations too as well. We're very lucky that we've actually been joined by somebody who happens to be the advisor, legal federal tax ombudsman. Ladies and gentlemen, he is Mr. Almas, Jovindah. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Wa alaikum assalam. Very good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you. What a smart, young, dapper-looking gentleman over here in the studios. And that too talking about tax, right?
In competition with you, actually, both of you.
Thank you very much, sir, for considering me alongside your competition. But now let's get started with it. So we have spoken about it, that justice delayed is justice denied. We know that our judiciary system is actually ranked on 130th in terms of dispensing justice, which I know there is a lot of work which needs to be done. How do you think that you give people solutions that do on fast track within 60 days?
Shazad, this is very important. Unfortunately, what you said is very relevant. A lot of the people, when they think of going to the court or for that matter, accessing our judicial system, the very first thought is, it's going to take a lot of years. It's going to be very expensive. Will I be able to get that justice which is required? So this thought bars you not to go to the court at the times. And even if you go with a mindset, oh, this is something you are not going to get maybe in your lifetime, or you are going to waste a lot of your times. Now, when it comes to the ombudsman institution, and particularly I'll say federal tax ombudsman, see what we try to do over here. When you say our judicial system is 130th in the world, we are trying to make this a paradigm, a role model, that we are different. We can do 3 areas which is not being catered anywhere else in Pakistan when it can come to the dispensation of justice. It is delayed. It goes for years and years. Now, that does not mean the statutory provisions ask you to go this long. But you go to the CPC, they say the case need to be adjudicated, decided within 6 months. But that 6 months is extended maybe to 8 years, 10 years. Same is case everywhere. When it comes to the federal tax ombudsman, the provisions over there are the case need to be adjudicated, decided within 60 days. Now, we can follow the same pattern. What is being followed elsewhere? We can take it to years and years. And it's been done with the other institutions. But what we have done over here, that we have reduced this period of time from 60 days to on average 40 days in the last 6 months. We have brought it down that any complaint that comes to us, the adjudication process get completed within 40 days, number one. Number two is that hiring attorneys, even when I was practicing myself, actually, people used to ask how much fee and how many lakhs and all that.
Expensive, right?
Expensive, and it is getting more expensive. When it comes to the higher stakes, actually, the cost of attorney is very high for that matter. Over here, when we say we deal with the taxpayer are the people who are the richest. Perhaps when we say we come to the corporate side and all that, we deal with these organizations. We say it's a zero cost. You do not need an attorney to come to us and access my offices. Just put up an application on one simple paper, write me an email, write me a text message, and then leave it up to me. We will take over. We will become your lawyer. We will represent you. We'll take it over from there. So we say it's a zero cost, 40 days. And the third very important thing that I need to mention is that the lot of the Supreme Court orders, adjudications, High Court, Superior Judiciary, you get those but those don't get implemented. You will find there is your property which was
So be very careful. आपके खिलाफ ही contempt of court ना हो जाएगी.
See, I'm a court here.
That's what I'm saying.
The issue is their orders when it comes to the implementation part. This is where they lack the implementation.
Right.
With us, the implementation it's around 95-96% of the recommendation that we give. Once we give recommendation to FBR to comply with those, we have a complete follow-up. We have our advisors that we make sure that it is implemented within a very short period of time. So this is what we stand different from the others.
I think that's wonderful. So let me ask you very quickly, because
Right.
for the rest of the world out there, whenever we get into arbitration, I know that there's a lot of delay, there's a lot of cost, and
Right.
you've very correctly mentioned that these are the three things, and you will be sorted in next 1 month and 10 days, which is no time as well. If you can do it, why can't the other courts do it?
Well, I get this debate every other day in the courts, actually. At times when we go to the regular courts and the higher dispute
Yeah.
courts, sometimes we must understand that there is a term which we often say here and there, that's the right man for the right job,
Yep.
actually. I mean, let me put a slight comparison. The PECA ordinance was introduced in 2016. I've been very active with the introduction of the cyber laws in Pakistan and all that. When this law was introduced, there was one clause very important, that the judges will be trained. They must know exactly what are the dynamics, what is the system, how this whole process actually evolves, where does this entering into your system, data entry and all. Now, can you imagine, we are in the 6th year of PECA, and as of today, I don't see any training for my judges anywhere.
Okay.
When you have people who are there to adjudicate, having a little background, little experience, little knowledge of what they are going to adjudicate about, this is what's going to happen. They will pass it on. I mean, the other day somebody was saying that the expertise over here is how to delay, how to pass it on, ignore. So this is not happening with my department. My ombudsman, federal tax ombudsman, is the first ombudsman who was appointed having a 30-year experience of tax service.
Wow.
Now, he knows what are the bottlenecks, where there are the gaps, where there is something being done in terms of the maladministration. He understands. And not only him,
Wow.
all my advisors which adjudicate, which are like the judges actually, they all have experience of income tax, custom service, sale tax, and they know.
That to more than 30 years, right?
30 years, 30 years. I mean, we usually try to get them after their service or, around that period of time. So when somebody complained about the maladministration of FBR, IRS, custom, sale tax, the problems comes there, they look at it and they identify, oh, here is the problem. So instead, you just try to figure out, waste time, they hit the nail right on the head, figure it
And
out,
that's it.
there's a problem, they will call the commissioner, the collector, tell them, gentlemen, what you are trying to tell me is different because this is what I have lived 30 years in the department. Try to do it. And then coming to the, you said the 40 days time. Shahzad, we've been adjudicating this in hours.
Wow.
The ADR, the alternate dispute resolution, there was a provision in
Right.
our statutory laws.
Right.
This was informal dispute resolution. So we look at the complaint, might be, again, expertise are, I would say, unfortunately, my judges, even at the highest forum, they do not have those expertise special. It's an age of specialization.
Right.
You get sick, you have a nasal problem, you will go to ENT. You won't go to GP anymore.
True.
Right.
With the judiciary,
Right,
it is
that's true.
GPs. We need specialists.
Right.
When there are specialist people at different forums, they will know how to really find a solution in a quick time. So this is what we are doing now. The informal dispute resolution is like my ombudsman did that. There was a consignment with the Zara. You were talking about the brands and all
Yep.
that. The Zara ordered something here in Pakistan. We look for the exports to be promoted, the international buyers coming to Pakistan. But these hurdles, these hiccups, they ultimately lead them not to buy from Pakistan because at times the timelines are not being met.
True.
So this consignment was stuck at the Karachi port.
Okay.
And the way you said, this document, that file, this report, that report, and the consignment was delayed for good 2 to 3 weeks. And Zara people said, if you don't do it by tomorrow, goodbye, thank you very much. We are going to cancel this $6 million LC and we are not going to buy anything anymore. The owner called on a holiday. It was Sunday. He called the tax ombudsman, can you help me? This is something, disaster, not for me, for my country. They are going to not buy anything anymore from me. So my ombudsman, Dr. Asif Mahmood Jah, he called the collector custom and he said, this is, you need to sort out, because what I see prima facie, there is no problem. It is just one way of creating problems to create your importance, the lower staff to maybe ask for whatever, you know. Right. So the issue was sorted out in 1 hour. Within 1 hour, the shipment was allowed to be on the ship actually. So not only this, in last 6 months, you know, the current regime, we say, with the tax ombudsman, it started about 9 months back. So in the last 6 months, Shahzad, we have adjudicated around 200 informal dispute resolution, which was never done before.
And it's amazing. But sir, in addition to that, you know, what I certainly want to ask is that when we're looking for fast track solution, obviously alongside comes a lot of grievances as well. You know, and since, you know, most of the time what happens is that the people who will be coming to you will be definitely complaining about people within the government institutes as well, or the institute itself at large. Now, what happens is that, God forbid, you know, when we're talking about fast track systems, do we have such standard operating procedures in place where we make sure that we have zero grievances towards the end whenever you kind of tell, hey, you know what, that's the decision, it's right over there and it will be implemented? And how do you work on the implementation bit of it as well?
Yeah, there are two parts to that actually. When it comes to the judicial system actually, we must understand that there should be an ample opportunity given to whosoever is being complained about. Yeah. We provide an opportunity to come, and there's a reasonable time and opportunity given to you to bring documents, personally come and confront whatever the allegations are. True. So that is very important. First part, we ensure that when there is a grievance, the person who is grieved is confronted with the person who has been said about the maladministration and all that. Number one. Number two, when it comes to the adjudication part, you say that there can be a grievance, there can be the department, the government department, they will be against the taxpayer. We ensure nothing like this happens again, because the defines part, that is that empowers us to carry out action against the officer who is going to carry out this kind of, we would say, kind of proceedings where the taxpayer is hurt because he initiated something against him actually. Right. We defend the taxpayer and we ensure this counter, the reactionary part doesn't happen again. Yeah. So this is the part two of that. When it comes to the implementation, see, we carry the power of a judge of a Supreme Court if it is a defiance part. The contempt is exactly the way the Supreme Court judge can carry the contempt proceeding. But prior to that, we can write a letter to FBI.
I'm very sorry to pause you over here, sir, but we actually have to head out towards a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. You know, it's a serious conversation. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. And you know, earlier on we were talking about the, you know, with the federal tax ombudsman, and he was speaking very brilliantly and explaining us. And actually, you know, he explained us such complex judicial procedure to us that, you know, we really enjoyed listening to him. Yes. And that too, you know, very easy solutions that he gave. So, sir, I really wanted to ask you, you know, since the tax filing is a very hefty process, and, you know, both of you mentioned about the bureaucratization that is going on, this paper, you know, that form, etc., etc. And I also feel that, government has incentivized the tax filing a lot. So can you, break down this process for us, in a more easier terms?
Well, unfortunately, if we look at the taxpayers, the percentage is around 1.25% of the whole population. And the important need is that we need to expand the base. Unless until we are not going to do the target that we set at times. What we try to do is to squeeze the already taxpayer actually, and that creates the maladministration, and that's where our role becomes more important. But for the government actually to understand that it is not the current taxpayer which you need to push further and squeeze and all that to broaden the taxpayer. Here we have played a very important role. Like it's not only that we provide remedy to the taxpayer when it comes to the maladministration, we conduct research and studies, and we take own motions where we think it's important, imperative to let the government understand and to devise a policy. So what happened actually, just to give you an example, the sugar, we all consume sugar, and there was a whole sugar phenomenon which was discussed last year and all that. We figured out that all these sugar mills in Pakistan, the people associated with the sugar business, the number is like about 100,000 plus. I'm talking about the business entities, the dealer, the sub-dealer, the retailer, the provider and all that. But can you imagine those who registered with the tax regarding the sugar trade? The number was not more than 100, not more than 100, unfortunately. And the whole FBR machinery was like ostrich, ignoring it. We figured it out. We said, no, please, this is very important. You have to bring them all into to the system, unless until you are not going to do. So this is what we are doing. The role is letting government understand how to expand all that. So at times they make blunders. There are certain things. I'll give you an example. They were daily wagers, they were contract employees, they were ad hoc and all that. So what happened? They started charging them on the same slab which was for the regular income and all that. And I mean, sometimes you don't even come to that ceiling where you need to be taxed and all that. But each time they will pay a daily wager, they will deduct 20%. We told them, please, don't do that. Daily wager is exactly when employer relationship is established out of that contract, he is as good as a regular. Don't deduct it anymore. So the ceiling came down, number one. Millions of people they benefited. Number one.
I think Shehzad is really happy to hear this.
I am really happy to hear that as well. Yeah, because I have a problem related to that. Which I will discuss off here as well. But sir, thank you very much for highlighting all of these points. I believe that this is obviously the intent is there, and when we talk about federal ombudsman, obviously it's an institute by the government as well, and for the people of Pakistan, where you can go complain about the institutes of the government, and you will get your justice, that too inshallah in 40 days, maximum 60 days as well. If you have any tax related query, all you need to do is any websites, phone numbers.
But simple, Federal Tax Ombudsman, FTO, you write Google, you will find everything. We have got Facebook page, we have got our YouTube channel.
And how do we WhatsApp our queries too as well?
9338 is the WhatsApp code that we have app, and then there is a WhatsApp number which you are going to find on FTO website.
Wow.
So you send that, and then you will find how prompt we are with the.
Thank you very much, Almas Jovindah sir, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation. What a wonderful speaker you are. And we hope and pray that you will continue to serve the country like this and the people of the country. You're a fellow countryman too, and you actually have that heart where you're making sure that that you will provide people with justice, and that too within no time as well. So for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, that's something which we really need in terms of being in line with the latest industrial revolution which is taking place, and that's how things will happen. The intent of the government is there. Now all you need is to reach out to them. That's it. Simple. Message, website, or probably an email, and they will get back to you, and no fee at all. So no kharcha at all, but all of the money will be coming in only if you are on the right as well. So with that, we're actually heading out towards the short break. Don't go anywhere. When you guys come back,